G'day, welcome back to DC Action. My name is Chris, and today we have been treated with a teaser trailer for DC Studios' Clayface, a horror movie set in the DCU, set to release on the 23rd of October, just ahead of Halloween. Without further ado, let's jump into the footage. We start off with the clip of the titular character Clayface, or as he was known before the transformation, Matt Hagen, who, as we can see through some promotional images released ahead of the trailer, was brutally attacked, leading to his hospitalization we see here. Clayface is played by Tom Rhys-Harris in this movie, who you might recognise from White Lines or The Gentleman. We briefly flash to an image of Matt Hagen prior to his attack. The way the image flashes on and off implies that while Matt is lying in his hospital bed, he's imagining his life prior to the accident, specifically his rising star power as an actor, as we get a nod to through yet another promo image. Interestingly, in this one, there is also a mention of Ashes on Sunday, which in the comics was a band the Black Canary was a member of. A nice little nod to a fellow Gotham-based character. At this point, I should mention that Clayface is typically a Batman villain, and therefore based in Gotham City. It is currently unclear whether we will get to see Batman in this movie. My prediction is that we won't though. At the most we may see a silhouette like we saw in Creature Commandos. Speaking of Creature Commandos, you may recall seeing Clayface in that show. Currently it is unclear whether or not the two Clayfaces are the same person, as we did see him supposedly die in the series. However, that is not to discount the possibility of this being a prequel, where we get to see his origin story. Another option is that this is a different person, as there have been multiple iterations of Clayface in the comics, the original being Basil Karlo, followed by Matt Hagen. It does seem that this movie is mixing the two characters together though, as Basil Karlo was the actor in the comics, and Matt Hagen was a treasure hunter, whereas in this movie, the character is called Matt Hagen, who was an actor. After more time in the hospital bed, we see another flash of Matt prior to his injuries, at what appears to be a movie premiere. I can't make out the title of the movie, but assuming the sign on the right hand side of the frame isn't the cinema name and is the name of the movie, it does start with The Light. At this point, the song in the trailer starts to pick up. Here, the Flaming Lips' Do You Realize was used, though with a lot of distortion applied to it, to evoke the horror themes of this movie. The next memory flash we see is what is presumably the attack on Matt, where we can see at least two men holding him down, cutting his face with a scalpel. By the looks of these men, they are quite wealthy, wearing fancy watches and suits, potentially belonging to a gang in Gotham City. One that immediately jumps to mind is the Falcone crime family, or their rivals, the Maroni crime family. Now we get to a shot that is presumably post-attack, where Matt wears some plastic covering over his face, most likely to prevent infection or just hide his new appearance. It is also possible that this was related to a role and is still prior to the attack, but I believe it is post-attack. The pace at which the footage is shown starts to pick up now, showing some red serum that is being injected into Matt's face. This, as you could have guessed, is most likely the cause of his newfound abilities. We also see a woman studying what is presumably Matt's new cellular structure, attempting to figure out how his abilities work. This here looks like Naomi Ackel, who is playing a character called Caitlin Core in this movie. We see her name pop up in yet another promo image with the tagline, "The New Face of Regenerative Medicine." We get two shots that look to be a part of the same scene, based on the lighting, where Matt is looking through a window and his face starts to melt. I don't really know if that's the right word for what is happening here, but seems the most descriptive in this case, so I'm going to use it. This might even be the first time that his abilities are revealing themselves, being a bit of a shock to him. We then see him run down an alley in what appears to be the same outfit as what he wore to the movie premiere, possibly being part of the same sequence. Hard to tell with what the context here is though. Now we get our first money shot, where his mouth is being partially closed over by the clay, with additional visible disfiguring along the side of his face. We once again see Caitlin Core in the trailer walking in front of a sign for Amusement Mile, which is an amusement park located in the northeast of Gotham City, with ties to the Joker. However, I don't think the clown in this image is supposed to be the Joker, although it does serve as a nice visual nod to the character. We see some clay in what looks like a speaker, reacting similarly to what sand or dirt would if it were in a speaker, becoming a basically visual representation of the sound waves being emitted. There is one shot of a character walking around a circular passage. Hard to tell what is going on here or even who that is. If you have any thoughts on this, leave them in the comments below. Matt's eyes begin to close over while in a plain bathroom. Again, most likely one of the first times he is seeing his powers in action. We see a woman screaming at something. Not sure who that is, but from the context it looks like she may be in a bedroom and could be finding Matt after he was attacked, as that scene also took place in a bedroom. We then see a boat coming to dock at a port on the Narrows, which is a small island in the middle of one of Gotham's rivers, called the Finger River in the comics. The same diner can be seen in this next shot of Matt hiding his face behind a hood. Caitlin appears to be torturing a man, who from the looks of his face appears to be Jake Curran, playing a character known as Patches. There is no character with this name in the comics, so I'm really unsure what role he will end up playing in the movie. Matt and Caitlin connect, implying that there may be a budding romance between the two in the movie. Matt punches a mirror, shattering it, potentially horrified by his own reflection. A man looks directly up at the camera, with blood dripping down from his nose. This looks like David Denick to me, with an untitled role in the movie. Still in his hood, Matt walks past the Gotham police car, showing us with certainty that this movie is taking place in Gotham City. Now for my favourite shot of the trailer, where we see in a shadow someone is raising an arm above their head, but instead of a hand we see a spiked mace, one of Clayface's most iconic transformations. Presumably this is Matt who is being cast in shadow, unless we learn that someone else shares his abilities, but I'll talk more about that theory later on. Another quick shot shows someone's face about to be carved up, potentially trying to recreate Matt's own transformation into Clayface. Matt is thrown backwards out of a window, and the same screaming woman from before is seen here screaming again. Our final shot shows Matt in a bathtub as he runs his hand over his face, disforms it as a piece of claywood, giving us the best visual representation of his powers. Throughout the trailer there are a few brief flashes of words that I skipped over. Putting them all together, they make the sentence, "Look fear in the face," continuing the DCU's catchphrases, all beginning with the word look, with 2025 Superman using look up, 2026's Supergirl using look out, and now 2026's Clayface using look fear in the face. The text using the logo we see at the end also appears to have a clay-like texture to it, and even seems to be melting slightly. Okay, now for a bit of theorizing. I have a bit of a theory based on the trailer footage that the main villain of this movie may end up being Caitlin Core, and the role she will be playing in this movie is, at first, she will seem like a bit of a helping hand, trying to help Matt out with his condition after the attack. But then once she realizes what his abilities are and how she caused them, she may be looking to recreate that, looking for other victims to use her serum on. But when that doesn't work, she has to end up attacking them like Matt was, and then inject them with the serum. This is why I briefly mentioned that the person with the spiked mace fist might not be Matt. Presumably it still is, but it could be someone else. And also why someone is being carved up in this movie that is not Matt. Anyway, that is just my theory for this one, nothing confirmed in the slightest. Those were all the details that I noticed in this first teaser trailer for Clayface. I wasn't sure what to expect from this movie when it was announced, but this looks like a very fun and honestly scary movie. Definitely quite a departure from both Superman and what Supergirl seems to be playing out to be, but a film that I believe will fit into the Gotham corner of the DCU. Anyway, that is it for this video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to see more videos like this one. And while you're at it, go check out my DC AMU rewatch series, where I've been breaking down all the DC AMU movies. With that being said, that is all for now. Until next time, this has been Chris, and I'll be seeing ya.